systems nominal. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Signal array locking. Packet sync confirmed. Welcome all. You're connected to the Kono Top Deep Space Signal Relay.
How about that? Can you hear that? I think I know what the problem was. Yay. Okay. Thank you, gents. Yeah, I've had all sorts of issues over the last few weeks. Nothing's been straightforward. I've had trips away with my day job. I've had illness to contend with. I've had a workman who decided that instead of cutting down the tree stump that we asked him to cut down, he actually cut through our internet cable. So that was a bit of a limiting factor when it came to live streaming or recording anything that I could then upload to YouTube. So it's been hectic. I've got a new camera, so you may notice slightly improved picture. Hopefully you will. You probably do notice some flickering on the green screen because I haven't quite sussed that bit out yet, but we're getting there. It's been a tough old month. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing better than I am at the minute. But we're getting somewhere. Having had all this time away from connection with the outside world, yeah, I'm in space. No worries with the flickering. Thanks, Wabbit. Yeah, having had this time away, I've had a fair bit of time to think about what I want to do next and what I can do next. The main thing that I've been focusing on over the last couple of years, really, with the channel has been live performance, and I love that. That's not going to change. Not going to stop doing any of that. In fact, there was a new update to the TR8S that came out. I think it was today. No, it was yesterday, wasn't it? The CR78 ACB patches. So, for those who aren't familiar, the Roland CR78 was one of the earliest drum machines that they produced, or one of the earliest programmable ones, I believe. And ACB is Roland's software emulation of analog circuitry. They call it ACB, that's analog circuit behavior. And what that effectively does is that's a programming version of emulating how analog equipment and analog circuitry behaves as per the name. That sounds a bit redundant, but yeah, it hopes to emulate all of the little nuances that you get with analog synthesizers. So where things heat up and they perhaps go out of tune a little bit after a period of time, or you get a different waveform of noise, for example, when something plays repeatedly. If you hear a sample, you can always tell if the same sample's played back repeatedly. It starts to catch in your ears, and you can really tell what's going on. But yeah, the analog circuit behavior of the CR78 has been added to the latest firmware of the Roland TR8S drum machine. So when I have a fair few minutes, I'll download that and have a play with that too, because that's got some really nice sounds. Phil Collins used it on In the Air Tonight. There'll be a billion other people who used it, but Hall and Oates did it. I Can't Go For That, I think, with that drum machine. So yeah, it's got a hell of a pedigree. So there's that. We can play with that. I've also been thinking of settings like this, where I'm just jabbering away at the camera, I need some ambient music in the background. So maybe you can hear this. Let me know if you can in the chat, please. That'd be good. So if I flick over to can't hear that. Okay. I know why that is as well. I've muted too many things here. We'll get it in a second. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let me just turn that down slightly for myself. I've lost the space station in the background of my my webcam there. I'll have to sort that. Okay, basic Ableton scene. And I was thinking of doing some sort of sequencer ambient that I can use for the backgrounds of either live streams or videos. Very, very straightforward. We've got just a bass line in Vital. Just a single oscillator, a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb, sorry, and a compressor. I can't speak today. Compressor. So that's that channel. Just a nice little pad in the second channel. Again, single oscillator, filter. And what did I do there? Reverb, compressor, and then an equalizer just to take some of the bottom end off of that. And then on this one, I don't have one of the plugins that a lot of ambient producers on YouTube seem to use at the minute, which is Stepic, which is a sequencer which has some randomization elements to it and a lot of flexibility for sort of creating an evolving sequence. This one's not too bad, and it's free though. So if I pull up this channel, this is from Full Bucket software, and it's quite an old-fashioned style step sequencer here. You can alter your sequence pitch on each step using these dials here, octave there, and so on. You've got velocity, gate to change the length of each step on there. You can synchronize this with your DAW, and then there's a couple of other parameters here that you can manually choose. I haven't used them at this stage, but if I did pick, I could do, say, velocity on here. Where are we? Can't remember where it is. Velocity might be under the first one. The point being that you can map velocity, and then the plugin that this is sending, this sends just MIDI, by the way, at the minute. You can send that message through to another channel. So the MIDI messages generated by Sequence Air there are just sitting in that channel, and then the channel next to it here is looking at the MIDI from this channel, and that currently has an instance of Vital, again with just like a simple Moog sawtooth. And then if I turn that on, there we go. So once again, if I pull up Sequence Air and then change some of the pitch settings on here, go. We can sort of vary our sequence a little bit. And I mean, there's nothing groundbreaking about that, but it's kind of just another addition to the workflow, if you like, that can give you a few happy accidents, rather than just using the piano roll all the time. As I say, something like Stepic, a different plugin, is a lot better for that kind of thing, because you can create randomization in terms of the MIDI notes that it uses. There may well be some bits and pieces in Ableton that could do some of that for you if you had it, but there you go. So yeah, the plan really is to produce a few bits and pieces that are using this kind of vibe, if you like, and then just keep that running. So I'm in space, as you know. One of the things that I've wanted to do is sort of play on that a little bit more, using some of the other hobbies that I've got, the other interests that I have. Music is just part of my thing, if you like. Until I started the YouTube channel, I was all over the show with Warhammer figures and making scenery for war games and stuff. I do quite a lot of sketching, or I have done quite a lot of sketching and painting and drawing, and it just seems like time that I involve some of that in what I'm doing here. So the next thought that I've had, and again, this is all just early stages, is to investigate how I could enlarge the space station that I'm in, and in order to do that, I'm going to have to design it, aren't I? So I have an application called Critter. This is a free paint program. 1 second here. And I have one of these. This is a Wacom tablet. So maybe in a future live stream, I'll do some painting and drawing with some music in the background, and if anybody's interested in watching that, I'll be playing about trying to design the space station. And then we go from there into Unreal Engine, and the way I created let me just lead back to the way I created this stuff in the background, the Mars revolving orbit that I'm in, was with Unreal Engine. So you build geometry and textures, and you apply all those, and it's a video game engine essentially. You can create any kind of animations or environments that you like. So if I create a space station design, maybe I can enlarge that and have that animated, and we go from there. And then the final piece in the puzzle is it needs some kind of narrative, doesn't it, really? If you've got graphics, if you've got music, you've got some sort of storyline going, then that becomes a little bit more engaging. So I've never really written a story before, but that's something that I would like to do. But I thought I'd start gently. There are royalty-free, not royalty-free, what's the word? Books written in the past that have gone out of copyright. They're in the public domain, and one of my favourite short stories is now available in the public domain, and that was written by Philip K. Dick, who you may have heard of before. He is an author who wrote the stories which inspired the movies Blade Runner, Minority Report, Total Recall, and he also wrote another one called Second Variety, which was partly used to inspire James Cameron's Terminator. So I'm going off way in the distance here with things that I'd like to work on the channel, and a live stream seemed like the right place to sort of throw some of these ideas out there. But yeah, Second Variety is a short story in which there's like a nuclear holocaust which has happened, and the Russians and the Americans and the UN are like surviving factions on Earth, It was probably written in the 50s, I would guess, which is why you've got Russia and America that are so prominent in it. But effectively, they're sort of presiding over this really damaged Earth, and there are cybernetic organisms which have been built to carry the war on, if you like, and there's a few humans that are trying to survive in the ruins, and they're looking at how these they're claws, they're called claws, and these robotic organisms, how they're starting to become a little bit too clever, and they're starting to fool humans and infiltrate their way into the bunkers of even the friendlies as well as the enemies. So I thought by producing a bit of music and some visuals that sort of tie in with that story, maybe I could produce some sort of animation, and we'll see where we go from there. So all that to say, I've got plenty of ideas and plenty of things that I want to follow up on. So if anybody's interested in that, keep your eyes peeled. If you've not subscribed and you'd like to hear more about this kind of stuff, then have a go at clicking on that subscribe button. So yeah, plenty going on. While I've got you all here, I want to say a huge thank you again to a couple of my subscribers who've followed me for a good long time, one of whom is chatting at the minute. That's Jason. Thank you very much for the donation. That is hugely appreciated. I'm not sponsored on this channel. I don't have any kind of Patreon or anything like that, and that's purely down to the fact that I am a hobbyist in many ways. I would like to turn this into something bigger than just a hobby, but at the minute that's a very big ask with day job and all that kind of stuff. So the one or two people who, or the handful of people who've been generous enough to donate, like Jason, Lionel Tichy recently, he popped something on my Buy Me a Coffee. Really appreciated. Thank you very much. The money goes back into the channel. As I say, I've just bought a camera I'm staring at now, and a teleprompter. So I think it's going to good use. Hopefully you do too. If you are interested in donating, my Buy Me a Coffee webpage is linked on the channel, so you can find that on my community tab, not community tab, my links tab on YouTube. And yes, you don't have to create any kind of username or password or anything like that. If you would like to donate, it's very straightforward, I gather. So there we go. Yeah, not really a great deal to show you just yet, but plenty of news, hopefully that's of interest, and we'll go from there. So any questions while you're here, if you're in the chat, just drop a message down. So I will certainly be putting out more videos, a bit like the last one that I did. That was the 5 strategies for finishing more music. 1 second, I'm just going to stop my background music at the minute, or at least quieten it down a little bit, because that's quite repetitive as it stands at the minute. The last video I did, 5 strategies for finishing more music, was one that I've had on the back burner for quite some time, and I've got a lot of other videos which are similar in the works, because writing something that's very scripted and cutting out all the ums and ahs and making it as professional as I can isn't too much of a challenge in terms of the scripting. I'm pretty good at that, I think. However, delivering it to a camera has always been quite a challenge until I got the teleprompter. That takes away so much challenge. So if you are considering doing your own tutorial type videos, or you'd like to try and do more polished presentations, a teleprompter is amazing. You don't have to memorize a line and then deliver it to camera and then edit and cut and everything. If you've got it all sort of running in front of you as you go, and you can sort of slow the speed of the text or speed it up, that's definitely a way to go. Behind the scenes, if you like. So So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. As I say, very short, not a lot to show you yet, but just to say I'm still alive, still in orbit around Mars, maybe heading to Jupiter soon, and plenty of other bits and pieces to come. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in a video soon. And by all means, ping me a message on WhatsApp. You can catch me on WhatsApp, or leave a message down in the comments here, and I will get back to you. I read everything. I'm always happy when somebody feels that it's worth asking a question or popping a message down there. So yeah, I look after all the subscribers and all the viewers if I can. So thanks very much, and I'll see you again soon.